Okay, I think we're live. Hopefully, you can hear me nice and loudly. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me for another English in the News live lesson. My name is Colin. I'm an English teacher with over 20 years of experience. And I've started doing these short live lessons about the news. Hopefully, it's something that people like and I can start doing more regularly. I know as a language learner, I would have enjoyed having somebody sit down with me for a short time and go through an article. I'm going to try to keep these short, maybe down to 20 minutes or so. That is the plan anyway. So, yes, let's get into it. If you are good at geography and if you know your flags and you saw the thumbnail, you'll know what we're talking about today. So, the first female president was what we were talking about. But the first female president of where? It's the first female president of Mexico City. So this is a story from this week. The first female president was inaugurated. So that means that she went through a ceremony to officially become the new president. So this happened today. Big news. I think it's an interesting one to look at. Something that we are seeing more of around the world is leaders of countries who are female. So, Mexico's first female president, a new beginning. So, what are we going to do today? We're going to look at this kind of short news story. We're going to read through it slowly so you can understand what it's about. I'll look at some vocabulary and then maybe some phrases, and hopefully we'll have a chance to have a little bit of a discussion. So please be sure to join the conversation in the comments, in the chat if you're watching this live. And hopefully by doing this live, we can get some nice interaction going. After that, we're going to read a second time. And that time, I'm going to focus more on pronunciation and how words link together to get a very smooth, natural English. Then we'll move on to some questions about the text to test your understanding of the text. And then we'll finish with another short discussion section. So like I said, please make sure to comment if you're watching live. If you're watching this in the replay, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below. It's good practice for you to express your thoughts, your ideas, even if you're not watching this live. So please make sure to be a participant in the comment section. Okay. And like I said, if you think this kind of content might be useful, maybe something you want to see more of in the future, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. That helps me know that people are interested in this kind of content, and it also helps with the algorithm, so it will send the video out to more people. So here we are. This is the article. Let's look at it. Now we're going to look at this we're going to read it slowly. Hopefully the speed can help you understand a bit more. So first reading, Mexico's first female president. Claudia Sheinbaum has made history as Mexico's first female president. After being mayor of Mexico City, she took the top job, following her mentor, former President López Obrador. Sheinbaum promised to continue his policies, focusing on poverty reduction, healthcare, and education. She also emphasized that it's now time for women to lead. Although she faces challenges like Mexico's ongoing drug war, Sheinbaum is determined to succeed. Her journey from student activist to president has inspired many, and she promises to work for the benefit of all Mexicans. Okay. So this is the text we're going to look at. Claudia Sheinbaum, this is the picture here. This is her on her inauguration day. She has this thing that's going down from her shoulder down to her waist. We call that a sash. A sash. And you can see it's got the Mexican flag. It has the emblem, the eagle on a cactus. Eating a snake is the emblem of Mexico. And this was her obviously very happy. So first question to get you thinking is, why is it important for women to be leaders? I'd love to know what you think about this. Like I said, this is something that has become much more common, I would say, in the last 10 years, 10, 15 years. We've started to see more women leaders. But do you think that's important? Does it matter? Does it matter that we have women leaders? What changes? What changes if there's a female as the leader of a country rather than a male? So let me know in the comment section or in the chat your thoughts on this. So we're going to look at some vocabulary now. So I've just picked out some words that I think might be tricky or are important to understanding this text. The first question we have here is mayor, M-A-Y-O-R. The pronunciation is a little bit strange. Mayor. It's not mayor, okay? It's mayor, mayor. And the mayor is the leader of the government in a city or town, okay? So not of a country, but of a city or a town. So for example, Mexico City has a mayor, London has a mayor, New York has a mayor. So these people run the local government in a city or sometimes even a town. It changes from country to country. There's maybe slightly different systems, but mayor, especially for big cities, is quite a common position. Next, we have mentor. So we have, following her mentor, former President Lopez Obrador. Mentor. Mentor is a person who gives advice or guidance, especially to someone who is younger and maybe has less experience. Okay. And this kind of advice could be in your career or just even in your personal life. Okay. So a lot of people who are just trying to improve themselves, maybe intellectually or whatever, they might have a mentor who will kind of guide them and give them some advice from their experience. Okay. And in a career, I think it's quite a good idea to have a mentor. When I started my teaching career as an academic, I had a mentor, somebody who helped explain how different things were done, how to deal with different problems that you might face. So Claudia Sheinbaum, her mentor was the former president. Okay, next word we have is poverty. Poverty is a noun. Poor is the adjective form, okay? So this is the state of being poor, and usually very poor. Not having enough money for basic needs like food or shelter. And usually poverty is a long-term situation. It's not a short-term situation, it's a long-term situation. And you often hear people talk about poverty when they're talking about social situations. Okay. So in the news, you might hear people talk about poverty. Okay. People are talking about economics. They might talk about poverty. So here we have focusing on poverty reduction. So reducing poverty is one of the goals here. Next, we have ongoing. You probably understand what this means just looking at it, ongoing. But ongoing means continuing, still happening, okay? And often it means the end is not really clear. We don't really know when the end might come. Um, so ongoing can be used in many different situations. In a work situation, you might have an ongoing project that your company is working on. The government might have an ongoing project to build a motorway or something, or a new airport. It's going to take a long time. Not exactly sure when they might finish. And here we have the ongoing drug war. Now, drug war, it's not a war in the way that we think about wars, but the drug war is between the government and the people who sell illegal drugs, make and sell illegal drugs. So it's a battle between those two groups. Okay. So it's not a war in a sort of traditional sense, but it's certainly a fight between these two groups. So the drug war is continuing in Mexico. And the last word we have here is activist. Activist. Her journey from student activist. An activist is a person who works for political change or social change. Okay, and this could be in politics, could be in things like human rights, it could be to do with the environment. If you've been watching the news in the UK, there have been lots of environmental activists who have been going to, for example, art galleries and throwing paint at very important paintings to get attention to their cause, their environmental cause. And you can describe them as activists. So activists take part in protests, campaigns, maybe they do speeches publicly. So here it says her journey from student activist. Now, it doesn't say that she was involved in politics or the environment or anything like that. It just says student activist. So this means that she started when she was a student. She was an activist while she was a student. So we don't know exactly what she was campaigning for, not in this sentence anyway. But that's what we mean by student activist. She was an activist while she was a student. Okay. So we're going to come back to some of these in a moment. Let's have a look at some phrases that I think could be interesting. Phrases can be tricky to understand, so I like spending a bit of time looking at these. First, we have made history. Claudia Sheinbaum has made history. So when you make history, it means that you do something that's so important that it will be remembered long into history. So Claudia Sheinbaum was the first female president of Mexico. She is the first female president of Mexico. That will be remembered forever, always in the history books. If you look up first female president, her name will be there. So she made history, is the way that we phrase that. Next, we have took the top job. So after being mayor of Mexico City, she took the top job. Now, this is a little bit informal. And what do we mean by the top job? What is the top job? Well, in her case, the top job is being president. There's no job higher in the government than being president. So rather than repeating the word president from the previous sentence, we've got took the top job as a way of just saying president in a different way. It's a little bit informal, but it works here. Moving down, we have time time for women. Okay, now you can see that time for women has what we call inverted commas or quotation marks, you might hear them called. And this means that this is something that she said. So when she had her inauguration, she gave a speech, she had to give a speech, and this is something that she actually said in her speech. Okay, so we have inverted commas or quotation marks used to pick that out. It's time for women. So this basically means that it's the right moment. Now is the moment for women to lead. She has obviously become the new leader of the country. It's time for women to lead. It's the right moment. Women must take the opportunity now to start taking more leadership roles in government, possibly even in businesses. Okay, time to lead. Next sentence we have faces challenges. Although she faces challenges, now face, it doesn't mean physically go and experience a challenge. The other time you might hear this is face fear. So if you have a fear, one way to overcome your fear is to face your fear. For example, if you are scared of flying, but you need to go somewhere that's far away, you might face your fear by taking that flight. So here we say face challenges. It doesn't mean that she will actually face it, literally, kind of in real life. It just means that she has to deal with many challenges. Okay. She faces many challenges during her term as president. There will be many challenges that she has to deal with, that she has to manage. So be careful. It's not a literal sense of facing. It's more of a metaphorical way of facing. And we also have her journey. Okay, so let's look at that sentence. Her journey from student activist to president. Now, again, this is not an actual journey. It's not from place A to place B, but this is talking about her career, really. So she started out, her first experiences of politics were as this student activist. So no real power. She was involved, she was part of the discussions, but she had no real power. And now she has gone right to the top and she is president. So this you could talk of as her journey in her career. So again, not an actual journey, but it refers to her journey within her career. Okay. And the last little bit here, I've not highlighted it, but that last sentence, she promises to work for the benefit of all Mexicans. So here she's talking about the many different groups within Mexico. Okay, so you've got a lot of indigenous groups throughout Mexico. It's a very diverse country in terms of different indigenous groups. But then you've also got the kind of working class, the middle class, the upper class. She wants to work to help everyone. So work for the benefit of all Mexicans is what she was saying. Okay. So again, let's think about this question. Why is it important for women to be leaders? Okay, so let's have a think about that. A question came through here. Can we say make the history? We don't say the in this phrase, to make history. We don't use the in this case. I'm not sure exactly why, but the phrase that we use is to make history. So it's more like a phrase, to make history. But that's a good. Thank you for the question. Okay. So why is it important for women to be leaders? Okay. Um, so let's move on to a second reading, I think. I'm going to close that just now. So here I'm going to read a little bit faster, hopefully. I'll just take a drink of water to prepare myself. And hopefully we can start thinking about how words link together, maybe focus on pronunciation a little bit as well. So let's have a look at this. So Mexico's, that's a good start. Mexico's first female president. Claudia Sheinbaum has made history as Mexico's first female president. After being mayor of Mexico City, she took the top job, following her mentor, former President Lopez Obrador. Sheinbaum promised to continue his policies, focusing on poverty reduction, healthcare, and education. She also emphasized that it's now time for women to lead. She faces challenges like Mexico's ongoing drug war. Although she faces challenges like Mexico's ongoing drug war, Sheinbaum is determined to succeed. Her journey from student activist to president has inspired many, and she promises to work for the benefit of all Mexicans. Okay. So let's go through this and see where we can start linking words together, and also some perhaps unusual pronunciation that we need to be careful with. So in the very first section in the title, we have Mexico's first president. So it's an S, but it's actually a Z sound, a Z sound. Mexico's first female president. Okay. Claudia. Now, in English, in the UK especially, we might say Claudia, Claudia. But in Spanish, this would be pronounced Claudia, Claudia. So when it comes to names, I think it's good to kind of respect the pronunciation in the country. So that's just one detail. But the name is common in the UK, maybe a little bit old-fashioned, but we might say Claudia in the UK. Has made history as, so the history as, the Y and the A link together quite nicely, has made history as Mexico's first female president. After being mayor of Mexico City, she took the top job, following her mentor, former President Lopez Obrador. Sheinbaum promised to continue. Now, let's look at this. There's a few things happening here. Promised. You hear that last sound? It's not a D sound, it's a T sound. And then we have to, and then continue. So to, I always recommend to my students when you're trying to speak smoothly, reduce to T, okay? To continue. Not to continue, but to continue. It really helps in making your speech much more smooth. So promise to continue. Now we have promised, and then we have t, and then we have continue. So there's two t sounds together. We only really need one. We don't need to repeat those t sounds. So that becomes promise to continue. Promise to continue. Much more smooth than promised to continue. Promise to continue. Sheinbaum promised to continue his policies. So that's a really good one to practice, linking those words together. Focusing on poverty reduction. So reduction, second syllable stress, reduction. And we have three items in this list. We have poverty reduction, healthcare, and education. So we have three items. The first two, the intonation should go up. Okay, so we have poverty reduction, healthcare, and education. This is a common pattern in English. 3 items, the first 2 in a list go up and the last one comes down. Okay, so focusing on poverty reduction, healthcare, and education. Okay. She also, again, she also emphasized. This is a tricky one to say. I was thinking about this word, emphasized. So we have 2 sounds that are very close together. We have M with your lips closed, M, and then we have F, this F sound. So PH is that F sound. My advice here is to start with an M and then try to blend into the F. Okay, so don't go M, Fa. There's too much of a gap between those sounds. Try to start with the M and then move your bottom lip kind of out of the way so you can get to the sound. Emphasized. Emphasized. It's quite a tricky one, but that's the best way I can explain it for you to say it as naturally as possible. Emphasized. Okay, that it's now. So the word that, the T can drop and it sounds very smooth. That it's now. So not that it's now, but that it's now. So the T can be quite soft or even lost completely. That it's now. Time for women to lead. So not to lead, but to lead. Okay. Although she faces challenges, again, we've got a Z sound here, challenges, like Mexico's, again, another Z sound. So these are S letters, but with a Z sound. Mexico's ongoing. So we have Mexico's ongoing. So imagine that as one word, Mexico's ongoing. Okay, so the Z links very nicely into the vowel, the O sound in the next word. Mexico's ongoing. Okay, Mexico's ongoing drug war. Sheinbaum is determined to succeed. Now, determined to succeed. Determined to succeed. So we have a D sound at the end here, determined to. Again, to is going to be reduced to t, okay? To succeed. Now, determined to succeed, we can smooth that by softening that D sound at the end of determined, okay? Determined to succeed is much, much more smooth than determined to succeed, okay? So we kind of remove one sound and we can link those words together quite nicely. Sheinbaum is determined to succeed. Her journey from student activist, now listen carefully, student activist. Again, that T in student, I can soften or even remove completely. Student activist. Okay, think about that. Student activist. To president has inspired, has, again, a Z sound here, many, and she promises to work for the benefit of all Mexicans. Okay, so quite a few things that we can think about here. If this is kind of interesting and you want to spend a bit more time going through it, I do have a shadowing playlist on my channel, so make sure you look at that. Hopefully I will be uploading more of those videos in the near future, but there's quite a few on there to get you started if this is the first time you've seen me discuss these kind of linking sounds. Okay, right. If you're watching this on a replay, go back, listen again, and you might find it quite helpful. Okay. Right. Let's take a look at some questions here. So the first question we've got is, what position did Sheinbaum hold before becoming president? So this is just a comprehension question. What position did she have before becoming president? I will give you a little bit of time to answer that question. Write your answer in the chat. What was her position before becoming president? Okay. Well, her position was mayor. She was the mayor of Mexico City. So obviously quite an important job. Yes, thank you, mayor of Mexico City. Bit of a delay on the chats coming through, but thank you very much. She was the mayor of Mexico City. Okay. Next question. Which areas has Sheinbaum promised to focus on as president? Which areas has she promised to focus on as president? Let me know in the chat. Okay, so we have 3 areas that she said she would focus on. Indeed, yes. So we have poverty reduction, healthcare, and education. Okay, thank you very much for your answer in here. Poverty reduction, healthcare, and education. Okay, and the last question I want to ask here is, how has her journey from student activist to president inspired people? Okay. Or why do you think, maybe it's another way of asking this, why do you think this has inspired people? This isn't an answer that you can get directly from the text. You need to sort of think about this for yourself. How has her journey from student activist to president inspired people? Okay. So one way you could answer this is that she has showed determination and hard work, okay, to come from being a student activist, somebody passionate about certain topics as a student, to have worked and developed her career to the point where she is now in the top job. So her determination um, and the success that she's had might inspire people, perhaps especially women, young women, who might look at her and think, well, if she can do that, then maybe I can do that. Um, so her determination and working through from being a student, perhaps that's something that you could say has inspired people. Okay. Okay, we're going to finish with a couple of discussion questions. We've got one here. Have you got a mentor? Have you got a mentor? And if so, what did they teach you? As I said, I had a mentor when I started out um, as a teacher in academia, and that was very important for me to learn certain things about research, about teaching skills, those kind of things, what to focus on, how to improve. So, have you got a mentor? What have they taught you? Okay, a very nice answer there from English learner. So inspiring. Sorry, I'll put this up on the screen. Might be easier for people to see. That's quite inspiring. Maybe to become president, especially that it's a woman when the country faces many challenges. So, it's a strong, independent person. Yeah, it's not an easy job. It's a lot of responsibility, isn't it, to become president? Okay, very nice answer there. So, have you got a mentor? What did they teach you? Again, if you're watching this as a replay, feel free to comment in the comment section. It's good to kind of practice expressing your thoughts and your ideas. So please take the time to comment down there. Another question we can think about is, what would you focus on if you were president of your country? Okay, so we've got some people from many different parts of the world watching this just now. What would you focus on if you were president of your country? Okay. So I'm from Scotland in the UK. If I was president of Scotland, that position does not exist. There's no president of Scotland. But if I was the president of Scotland, perhaps I would focus on healthcare. I think that is quite a big issue. The Scottish diet, we talked about diet in the last live lesson that I did about the news. We were talking about chocolate and how it may or may not cause acne. Um, Scottish diet is famous for being not very healthy. So perhaps I would focus on healthcare if I was president. Okay. A little question here. What's the difference between a mentor and a teacher? Um, if you think about a teacher is a more formal relationship. Okay. So when we think about a teacher, we might think about you go to a class, you take a class and you sit down, and there's certain things that a teacher wants to teach you. Okay. Maybe a teacher has, well, hopefully, a teacher's got a certificate or some experience, and this is their career. But a mentor is somebody who just has life experience. They are just maybe a few years ahead of you, or maybe many years ahead of you. They can be much older than you. And they have life experience. Maybe, like I said, in a career, or maybe just in life in general. And they have a much more kind of informal relationship. They're not specifically teaching you every week like a teacher might, but they might help you when you have problems, when you have specific questions. So it's a different kind of relationship. Okay, a teacher and a mentor. A mentor is somebody who will guide you specifically when you need guidance, whereas a teacher, maybe you've got a class um, every week or for a semester or something like that. Um, so, whatever your career, whatever stage in life you're at, I think it's a good idea to try to have a mentor, just somebody who's a little bit further ahead than you, who can maybe give you some advice and help you on your journey. Here we talked about Claudia Sheinbaum's journey from student activist to president. In your career, you are on a journey. Okay, from your first day, I'm sure everyone can remember their first day of work, being very nervous and not really understanding what to do, to as the years go by and you become more experienced, you become more confident and competent. Um, this is something that a mentor could help you with. Okay, right. Okay. So what would you focus on as president? Again, if you're watching this as a playback, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's not live, please comment in the comment section. It's good to practice writing, explaining your thoughts as clearly as you can. Okay. So like I said, if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this where I look at a news article and give you a chance to discuss it a little bit, please make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button. This helps to send this video to more people so more people can see it. And that tells me that more people want this type of content. So perhaps I can start doing these more regularly. And that would be quite nice. So I think we will finish things. It's a bit longer than I hoped. I'd like to try to get these down to about 30 minutes. But thank you very much for joining me today. And again, let me know if this is something that you want to see more of in the future. And I think we'll finish there. Thank you very much. Have a good Friday, wherever you are, and a good weekend. And I will see you very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.